So before we bring Mom and Dad up to interview them, just really quickly, we have been in the midst of a group of talks on what it means to be honest to God and how the Psalms really gives us language to talk to this God and really a way to name our feelings and also a place to aim them. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable, I think, if we're honest, when we read some of what the scriptures say to this God. I don't know about you, but sometimes when we pray, it sometimes feels like we better dress up this language a little bit. Are you with me? And it seems like God is inviting us to talk to him, to learn the language of prayer through the Psalms. But one of the interesting things about the Psalms is it doesn't just teach us how to name and aim our emotions at God, but it also gives us some specific ways to talk to God, which I think help to build our faith. And so one of the ways that the Psalms does that is that there are these kind of group psalms, almost liturgical in nature. They feel like they're call and response kind of psalms. And usually in those psalms, what they do is celebrate unique things that God has done through the centuries, specifically with his people. And so we're going to look at one of those psalms today. If you got a Bible, we're going to be at Psalm 136. And then we're going to look at this psalm. We have a short video from our friends at the Bible Project on a specific word in the psalm. We're going to watch that together. And then we're going to talk to Rex and Laura, or Mom and Dad, as I call them. Feels weird to say Rex and Laura. About what it's like to plant the church, and then kind of talk about how God's faithful love has endured through that season. So, if you would with me, we're going to try this call and response, okay? That means I read, then you read. All right, everybody? Because we've tried this before, and it's been confusing. So, I just want to say, this is how it's going to go. I'll also read the first part, and then you guys will say, his love endures forever. That's your part, okay? Okay. We got it? Okay. Excellent. I feel like this is going to go well. Also, try to read it with feeling, because when you don't, it sounds very weird, okay? All right. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good.
His love endures forever.
Very good. So much better than the 9. Anyways, okay. Give thanks to the God of gods.
His love endures forever.
Give thanks to the Lord of lords.
His love endures forever.
To him who alone does great wonders.
His love endures forever.
Who by his understanding made the heavens.
His love endures forever.
Who spread out the earth upon the waters.
His love endures forever.
Who made the great lights.
His love endures forever.
The sun to govern the day.
His love endures forever.
The moon and stars to govern the night.
His love endures forever.
To him who struck down the firstborn of Egypt.
His love endures forever.
And brought Israel out from among them.
His love endures forever.
With a mighty hand and an outstretched arm.
His love endures forever.
And on it goes. His love endures forever. But there's a very specific word that gets used here in the psalm, which it's a little hard for us. We don't quite have a word like that. So sometimes you may see in your Bible, it might say, his faithful love endures forever. Some try to translate it as loyal love. The NIV has just said love. Pretty good. Okay, but there's a specific word here that actually comes from the way God defines himself in Exodus, which we just looked at a few weeks ago. This idea that this God says he's compassionate God. He's slow to anger. He's abounding in this steadfast or loyal love. And so we want to look at this quick video from the Bible Project that will help us kind of think more deeply about this type of love, and then we're just going to celebrate that love together. In this psalm, every chapter or every verse in the psalm really tells a different chapter of Israel's story and talks about how this faithful love endures forever. And that's also been the story of this church, and so I want to bring up the two people that know about that the best and can testify to that love. So please welcome Mom and Dad up. So we're going to give you each a mic this time.
Okay.
Yeah, that way you can just interject whenever you want to. So they shared a mic at the last service, and it was kind of like when you FaceTime your parents and both are there, but neither one are actually there. there's just like half of their face on each of the screen, and so that's kind of how it was. The mic was just like kind of wandering. Anyways, yeah. So good job. Very good. Yeah. Yeah. Good. We worked on it. We worked on it in between. So these are my parents, everybody, in case you didn't know that, and or Rex and Laura to the rest of you. And yeah, so tell us a little bit about kind of the call. So both of you guys, you were 49 when you got the call to plant this church, and you were working at a church in rural Illinois that when you got there, I mean, I was like, that church basically exploded in the time that we were there. From like, over the 7 years, it went from like 300 people to 2,000 people. And so you had moved into different roles at that church. You were leading different things there. And then you were like, you know what? Now that I've arrived, I'm going to start over and make something from scratch in Dubuque, Iowa. How did that happen? What's the story of that?
Yeah. So one of my responsibilities.
I worked with him, but he just still.
I feel so weird holding the mic.
You can do it.
Okay, I can.
I believe in you.
All right. One of my responsibilities was, as a teaching pastor, was to develop the leadership of our church and also prepare people. We decided to go to satellite campuses, which was a video campus, in various towns outside of the area where our church was. So we had about 50 people over here, 60 people over here, 100 people over there. So I actually began to work with the leadership, develop the leadership, and kind of plant that satellite campus. And I was working in Galena, preparing a satellite campus in Galena. One of the gentlemen that actually lived here in Dubuque wanted me to meet him for breakfast, so we came together for breakfast. He drove me around here. And when I came to Dubuque before, it was always like downtown Dubuque and kind of looked run down like Clinton, you know what I'm saying, Rivertown.
We
Come
really
on,
drag
I'm
Clinton
just being
here.
honest. Come on, I'm being real here. And so I never had been. I had never been on the other, past any of that. And so when we came out more towards the western side, or eastern side, western side, yeah, western side. Then it was I was really captivated by what God was doing, and in the midst of it, it changed from being captivated about the city to I felt God specifically telling. I'm going to get.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. Okay, I'm good. I just knew that God wanted me to come and plant a church here. It was so deep and so real that I just felt like I had to do it. And so I had one of these, snot-dripping moments, you know what I'm saying? As I was driving home, because I didn't really want to do it, but yet I really felt like God wanted me to do it. And so I came home to my wife and said, "Hey, I really feel like God wants me to plant a church in Dubuque. What do you think about that?"
Yeah, and what did you say?
No.
I said no.
Yeah. It's on.
I'm not going.
Yeah.
And I kind of came with my
Sorry. No, it's on. It's on.
feet in the sand. But we had a 19-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 13-year-old. And our 19-year-old was off to private Christian school, college in Tennessee. Our daughter was a senior in high school. And then, we had two younger ones. So as a mom, I'm the one who's supposed to keep everybody happy, And so, but after we had a discussion, and Rex said to me, I feel like, and he had this calling a couple of years earlier at a conference he had gone to that God was going to use him to plant a church. We just didn't know anything about where and how that would transpire. So I knew that was kind of on the radar. And when he said to me, if we don't do this, I'm going to be disobedient to God, then we came.
Yeah. Did you guys know anybody here, or
No.
No.
how did you start that? How did this? You just came and said, "We're starting a church, everybody."
Yeah, pretty
Oh,
much.
Well, yeah, I'll talk about that one.
Okay, yeah.
We did everything wrong. So the first thing we did is we put an ad in the from June until December of 2005, I drove over here and I met with anybody that would give me the time of day, like down at Hy-Vee and
Yeah.
over at Panera. And kind of started seeing there was these certain benchmarks that people were saying they would prefer in the church or wanted to be a part of a church that did certain things. And so I used those benchmarks and pain points that people had shared with me. We put an ad in the papers that imagine a church like this. And we used those pain points and said, come and talk. We're going to have a meeting at the hotel. Come and talk to us. So it was basically like a multi-level marketing presentation.
Yeah. And at
we
the
had-
end, you're like, "And if you sign today,
Yep, that's it.
you'll be a founding member."
Only $5,000. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. And so we had 16 people that stuck,
Yeah.
and we started immediately building into those 16 people in the basement of somebody's house.
Can you walk me through the first Sunday? What happened? What was that like?
Yeah, well, we did something very foolish. We started a church in the Midwest in January the 22nd.
Perfect.
And so
Where was the
at
first?
the Eleanor Roosevelt Middle School.
Okay.
So
That wasn't even open yet.
no, it was brand new.
The
Well,
school wasn't, but the school, they weren't having like classes in there this spring, I don't think.
Yeah, they were open.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Because-
Anyways, sorry, we're
because
going to have an argument about
family
this later,
discussion.
okay?
A
The
fam-
family discussion.
A family discussion. No, because he called to rent the school
Yes.
to get the facility.
Yeah.
And just the night before, the board had set all the policies
Oh,
of
wow.
renting that building.
Yeah.
Right.
Just the night before.
So walk us through. What was the first Sunday like? How did we do this?
Well, God does bless us. Let me back up if I can just a little bit.
Go
before I get
ahead.
into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The church where we are serving, they decided to pay for my salary till the end of the year. So they took care of us financially for that. And also they co-signed we basically had church in a box, so to speak. And it was in a big honking trailer. And in a big honking trailer.
Yeah.
And
You can
I'll-
only
I'll-
say honking with one hand.
Okay, I got it. And so when we decided that was going to be our launch date, we trained everybody, and then we did it on January 22nd. And it was very, very cold that day. Everything that was inside the trailer when we put them into the school frosted over. Microphones,
Yeah.
our
Stands.
computer,
Yeah.
Whenever-
coffee machines froze over. Everything
Yeah.
froze over. It was
Yeah.
it was a mess.
Because we did do like a demo before that. There was like a practice.
Yeah.
And you said something in the first service at the coffee machine. It was like a displacement brewer, so it keeps the water inside.
Yep.
And so we kept all the equipment in the trailer all week, and then we drove it to the school. If any of you helped set up for Easter down at the Grand, it was kind of like that every Sunday. And so we would get the coffee machine out and fill it up with water, and water would just pour everywhere. And we couldn't get it to work. Well, we found out there was a reservoir inside, and so because we kept it in the trailer all week,
Yeah.
it froze the water that was in there from the week before. So we had to put the coffee in the car and take it to the house every week and remember to
Right.
bring it to church every Sunday.
And how did people respond to that kind of setting up church every week? How was that?
It lasted really great for about 6 months, and then everybody quit that was doing it,
It was too,
except for us.
it was
Except-
too
And
hard.
you and other
And
members of our family.
and our other children, yeah.
Yeah. So the key is if you're going to plant a church at 50, do it with a lot of kids. That's
Yeah, that's it.
that's how
right.
you do it.
That's
Okay?
right.
It's like a built-in core team. Yeah. I guess. Could you walk us through like? I'm sure there was a lot of moments where you were like, I don't think this is going to make it, right? But could you walk us through maybe like a time where it felt like, okay, this is kind of happening, but then something else happened that was like, woo, I don't know. Now I feel like we're not going to make it.
Well, for the first 3 years, it was, I don't think we're going to make it.
Yeah.
Whether it be me saying that or it be Laura saying that.
Yeah.
We just had so many things to go against, so to speak. I was working 2 jobs at the time besides the church, and so the church wasn't large enough to support us. So we had to have other jobs to take care of paying our bills.
Yeah.
Which is something kind of wild because we were able to get a house on my previous salary, but when we came here, we had no salary, so we still had a mortgage to pay. So, we had to get with it pretty quick, and God just took care of us. He met our needs financially. But about year 3, God brought some people that was very, very helpful in because I felt like I was the clown show that was spinning plates, you know what I'm saying? And this one would be going really well, and over here, this one would be doing like this, and I have to jump over there and do that real quick. And so I really felt pretty tired from it.
Yeah.
And so, but about year 3, we had some people that really come alongside with us, and it really made doing it like this is gonna be okay.
Was that the year that you were able to, like, go full time and not work the other?
Yeah, about 3.5 years. Yeah.
And was this? I feel like this coincided with something else you talked about at the 9, which was like, finally things were together, and then what happened?
Yeah.
So then that was 2009, and so that fall, Rex had what we thought was a gallbladder attack. On Sunday, he preached. On Monday, he was in the hospital with a gallbladder attack. By Tuesday, we learned he had a cancerous tumor in his kidney. And I specifically remember that Sunday morning, he preached a message, are you going to faith God or freak out? And when I got to the hospital Tuesday morning and learned that he had a cancerous tumor, I was freaking out and not being very faithful. But then in the process of that, during that 3-week period before he had the surgery, we got a call from a gentleman who had been in our church sometime during those weeks, and he was on schedule to preach at his church, and I think he was from Minnesota, maybe. I don't know who he came with, how he got there, but he had called and he wanted to preach Rex's sermon that he had heard the day he came and wanted a transcript of it. And so in the process of talking with him, he said, well, what can I pray for you about? And Rex said, well, I just learned I have cancer. So if you could pray for, about that. And he said, I had a gallbladder attack, and then they found the cancer. And he said, oh, well, I'm a chiropractor, and I have a gallbladder cleansing that I give to my patients. And so we sent him the sermon. He sent us the cleansing. Rex did that.
I'll never do it again.
We'll
But
link
he-
it.
but
We'll
he
link it in the
hasn't
show
had
notes
to.
if anybody wants to try. But
But he hasn't had to do it again. He's not had any gallbladder problems since then.
Yeah.
So,
I'd rather go be with Jesus than to
Yeah,
do that.
all right.
That was awful. That thing was awful.
yeah, I was there for that too. Anyways, so I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball here because we had prepared questions ahead of time, and this is not on the questions. But
It's fine.
if you guys were gonna, so Mom, you're free. If you were gonna add to Psalm 136 and make it about new life, what do you think some of those stanzas would be? So kind of like think about what are some things where you're like, wow, the Hesed of God endures forever. Kind of like milestones or markers of like his faithfulness through the seasons.
Well, for me, to get to be a part of seeing people come to know Christ and to walk with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of you are out there.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a cool thing.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer.
That's
He
okay.
met, I feel like he's met our needs as a church. We've always been lean and mean, and he's always taken care of us. And we've been able to serve the city, lean and mean as we've been.
Sure.
And God has used us to make a dent in the city and in the darkness.
So we started at Eleanor Roosevelt, and then we moved to a location across from Findlay Hospital,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And we were there for a little bit, but then we ended up here. How did that happen? Let's tell that
You wanna
story.
tell the story? Go ahead.
I'll tell part of it. So we were at Roosevelt Middle School for about a year, set up the church every Sunday, tear
Right.
it down every Sunday.
Yeah.
And as Rick said, people got tired. It was too hard. So it became that, our family, maybe a couple of other people, were doing that for the last 6 months. And our band actually was practicing at Grandview Heights Methodist Church, which was across from Findlay. Now it's the Greek Orthodox Church, I think.
Yep.
They were practicing there because we didn't have a building. And there was a church in that basement, and they were moving.
Yep.
And so they asked if we wanted to take over their lease. So we actually moved into that building and were able to leave our equipment set up. And so we were in the bottom of the Grandview Methodist Church basement, and there was a men's clothing store in the top of that
Yes.
Which is the sanctuary.
for a few years. And then we kind of outgrew the basement. We started a second service on Saturday night, which for the first 6 weeks we had a huge snowstorm every Saturday night.
We start everything in January.
You know.
Terrible idea. So that's why we did not do the party in January, see? 20 years of learning. Yeah.
So we were outgrowing the basement, and our elders were in the basement having an elder meeting and praying about where we're going to do, how's God, please show us another building. And they heard some noise upstairs, and when they left that meeting, there was a sign on the door that said the clothing store was going out of business. And so they immediately called the owner, and we were able to move upstairs where the actual sanctuary was in the church. And so we moved upstairs in that facility, and we were there. We should have written some of this
Until
down, but
2015.
We were too
Yeah.
busy.
That's what Alan says.
Okay, 2015, then the church that was in this building was kind of like a sister church to us. And they were disbanding. And so they got in touch with us and asked if we wanted this property. And so we were deeded this property free
That's
from
right.
that sister church.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go God.
And so that's how
awesome.
we came in and did a lot of renovations,
Yeah.
and here we are.
Yep. Mom, this question is more for you, but what's the hidden cost to saying yes to this kind of stuff? Like, what do people not see about what's involved with these types of things?
Well, it was really hard for our kids, as you can imagine. They're all teenagers, especially, this one had to come home from private Christian school in Tennessee, where he was thriving and loved being there, and go to school at UD, which was great, but not so great at the time.
It was fine.
And then our daughter, who was a senior in high school, we moved here in December. She had 2 weeks left. She graduated early, so she had 2 weeks left of school back where we moved from. So she stayed back there and finished high school one day and started NICC the next day. And she was 17. All of her friends were there. She had a boyfriend there. She did not want to move here.
Yeah.
So that was difficult. Our middle daughter was in 9th grade when, of course, we were moving at midterm. And she came from a class of maybe 60 or 80 kids, I don't remember,
Yeah.
to a class of over 500 kids. And she's very introverted, like her mom. And so she cried for 2 weeks, and so did I. It was just really hard. So, and our youngest son, he was 7th grade, and he was probably like Kyle, more outgoing. So, wasn't really, but it did affect him in other ways. So it was a sacrifice for our whole family. And also, when we first came here, of course, like we said, we just moved here and we knew no one. And so when you begin a church and you have a nursery, you can't just trust anybody with other people's children that you don't know, because we know how the world is. And so I was the nursery for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I liked kids okay, but I wasn't like, I wasn't really, there's
that's
people
funny.
that say, oh, let me hold your baby and all that. Well, that's really not me sometimes. So,
This is just
So,
coming out.
plus-
This is fresh. I didn't know this.
sometimes I didn't even like my own. So anyway,
That's fair.
I was the nursery for a year and a half, and so I missed the church. Like, I didn't get to see what was happening in service.
Yeah.
I didn't get to meet all the new people.
Right.
Rex would tell me all these stories, and I was missing out.
Yeah.
And so it was very lonely. I just felt like here I am stuck in the nursery, and I'm missing everything that's happening. And so that was hard.
So when you look out at this room of people, and some people who have been here pretty close to the beginning, what does it make you feel?
I see two that came with us to Roosevelt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're actually visitors.
All
That's,
right.
that's right. That's right.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
that's a long time ago.
That's a million years ago.
In
So
fact, I had her in the nursery.
I love it.
And I loved having you, by the way.
Good save.
Yeah, good save. Yeah. How does it make you feel? I mean, seeing all this 20 years
Well,
later.
it's a God moment because we did so many things wrong, but I think one thing you can learn is just, if you're faithful, even in your mistakes, God's going to win out. I mean, he's going to come through. So
Uses a donkey, so I know you could use me. So it's all right.
are you talking about me?
No, honey. No, heavens no.
That'll be another family discussion.
Yeah.
Dad, if somebody's sitting here today still trying to figure out whether following God's actually worth it, what do you want them to know after 20 years of this?
Yeah, only Jesus can transform your heart and redeem your soul, make you fully human, make you, put you in a position to be able to enjoy the life that God has given you a purpose and a plan for your life. And life is going to be hard, no matter whether we're a Christ follower or not. But I would much rather be a Christ follower in the harshness and hardness of life and walk with God and know I could talk to him at any moment, that I can cast my cares on him, that I can pray to him about everything, and the peace of Christ guards my heart so I don't have to be anxious about anything. I know that he's for me, he's not against me, that he's never forsake me or leave me, that he's my ever-present help in time of trouble. And all of those things have been formative in our life, no matter the circumstances of our life. And I would say, I don't know who said this before, but I think it's a good line. Choose your heart. Are you gonna do life without Jesus? Because it's really gonna be tough. Or do you want to do life with Jesus and walk with God? Because life's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's what I would say. But God is good, and his love endures forever.
Yeah.
Come back to
His
Psalm
love endures
136,
forever.
just for you.
Yeah. Thank you. Last question, and really just final word, I think, just to give to all of us. But 20 years from now, what do you hope is still true about New Life Church?
Well, that truth is still being preached and that people are still finding Jesus here.
Yeah.
That's the mission of the church. So, and I hope a lot of you are still here.
Yeah, 20 years from now, I hope and pray that like I felt in my heart when I first started the church,
Yeah.
that we be a church that really reaches our community for Christ. And I still feel it's going to be a church of 1,000 someday. So I still feel like that's a prophetic thing that I felt God say to me. So I don't know how that's going to happen because, you're like me, you're doing it, man. It's like, spinning those plates. So it's like, but God is good,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's able to do those kind of things.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. I just want to publicly honor you, and thank you so much for just your obedience to God in those late stages of life, man. It's a lot. And the older I get, and the older my kids get, the more I appreciate just what all that took to say yes to all those things. So, and these people are just like this all the time. I promise. I grew up with them, so it's no performance here. This is how they are, and so I do think that we have some saints and sages among us. So grateful for them, and would you just join me in just giving them a round of applause and saying thank you for their. Yeah, and I just like to point out that I think it is a real sadness that Rex is the cheapest pastor to pie right now. So I feel like we could really up that between now and then. Or you could just get a really cheap shot at him, So the silent auction's still open. Hey, part of our regular rhythms here at New Life is just we just make space to just be quiet and let the Spirit speak to us. Just about the things that we heard, hopefully just something that was said really resonated with you, and so we just make space to just let those things happen, because oftentimes our lives are pretty fast and loud, and so if you feel comfortable with this, we just hold our hands out just in a posture of surrender. We'll just pray this simple prayer together. Come, Holy Spirit.